My mother-in-law snatched the photo of my late dad from the mantel and said, "We don't display strangers here." I froze. My husband just shrugged. "It's her house," he said. That night, I sat in the car with the picture in my lap. But months later, she got a letter that said, "Eviction," and the signature at the bottom was mine. I didn't grow up with much. My dad raised me after my mom walked out when I was 8. It was just the two of us in a 2-bedroom apartment in Richmond, Virginia. He worked 2 jobs and still made time to show up at my debate meets, every single one. When he died of pancreatic cancer 4 years ago, I felt like the last person who truly loved me was gone. So when Aaron and I got married, I really believed I was getting a new family. A husband, a future, maybe kids someday. I didn't expect luxury. I just wanted peace, stability, someone who'd have my back the way my dad had mine. Jean, Aaron's mother, was never warm, but I thought that was just her personality. Old school Southern type, formal and cold. Aaron warned me she was hard to please, but he said she'd come around. "Just give it time," he kept saying. When she broke her hip, she couldn't live alone anymore. Aaron brought up the idea of moving in with her, temporarily. Said it would help us save for our own place. At first, I was open to it. I wanted to be supportive. I packed up our apartment and moved into that creaky old house with the wallpaper peeling in the hall and the faded carpet that smelled like mothballs. I didn't expect comfort. I just hoped we'd be treated with some respect. I gave up a lot. Privacy. My Sunday mornings. Even my cooking, she hated any dish with seasoning. Said it made the walls smell foreign. I stopped making my dad's arroz con pollo because she'd wrinkle her nose and wave her hand like I was smoking up the place. But I swallowed it all. For Aaron. Then came the night with the photo. It was my dad's birthday. I'd brought his photo in a small wooden frame and placed it on the mantel next to the candles. I didn't say anything. I just wanted him to feel close. I was lighting a candle when Jean walked in, took one look, marched over, and without even asking, picked it up and said, "We don't display strangers in this house." Strangers. That word sliced through me. She didn't ask who it was. Didn't care. Just took it down like it offended her. I couldn't speak. I literally felt my throat close up. All I managed was to look at Aaron. I thought he'll say something. He'll stop her. But he didn't even get up from the couch. He shrugged and said, "It's her house." That crushed me more than Jean's words. That night, I took the photo and sat in the car. For nearly an hour, I just sat there, holding it in my lap like it was the only piece of my dad I had left. I couldn't cry loud. Jean's bedroom window was right above the driveway. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction. So I just sat trying to breathe, and for the first time in a long time, I felt completely alone. Things got worse after that. Little things. Petty, targeted things. She labeled all the shelves in the fridge, but only the ones I used. She accidentally shrunk 2 of my sweaters in the dryer. She moved my things around the kitchen and claimed she was reorganizing. When I confronted Aaron, he brushed it off. "She's old, babe. Don't take it personal." But it was personal. When I made lunch, she'd stand behind me, pretending to be on the phone, talking loud about people who have no manners, no upbringing. If I set a mug down without a coaster, she'd snatch it and clean the spot like I'd left a disease. I started staying late at the office. I'd sit in my car during lunch because I couldn't stomach eating in that kitchen. I hated going home. I didn't even feel married anymore. Aaron barely noticed me half the time. We hadn't been intimate in weeks, and when I brought it up, he said, "I'm just stressed. Let's not fight." But I was already in a fight. She made sure I felt like a guest in a home that would never be mine. And the man I married just let her. One night, I was in the guest room, our room, going over property records on my work laptop. I do estate law, real estate titles. I deal with ownership disputes all day. Out of curiosity, I looked up Jean's house. It wasn't in her name. It was still in her late husband's. He died nearly a decade ago, and she never did a transfer of deed. There was no will filed. Legally speaking, the house was stuck in probate limbo. I pulled tax records. 3 years unpaid. That's when something in me clicked. It was like I stopped feeling sad and started feeling clear. I knew exactly what to do and how to do it without her even seeing it coming. It took time. Quiet moves. Filing claims. Petitioning the court to handle the unclaimed estate. The paperwork was slow, but I knew how to make it stick. I never told Erin a word. Then in October, Jean got the letter. She opened it at the kitchen table. Her hands were shaking. I saw her eyes skim the page, then shoot up at me like I'd stabbed her. "You're evicting me?" she said, like she couldn't believe it. Erin grabbed the letter. His face went pale. I looked him dead in the eye. It's not her house. Not legally. Not anymore. I watched the blood drain from both their faces. And at the bottom of that letter was my name in black ink. The day after Jean got the letter, the house turned quiet. Not peaceful, tense. Like something was waiting to snap. Jean stopped speaking to me completely. She wouldn't even look at me. At first, that was fine. Peaceful, even. But Erin, he didn't stay neutral. That night, he came into our bedroom and slammed the door hard enough to shake the frame. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he snapped. "You went behind my back?" I sat on the bed, calm. I'd rehearsed this. She doesn't own the house, Erin. Legally. She never transferred the deed. Never paid the taxes. That house was in limbo. I just followed the law. You had no right. No? Where was your outrage when she called my dad a stranger in front of you? Where was this energy when she was mocking my cooking, moving my things, humiliating me in front of your cousins? He went silent. I kept going. I warned you, Erin. Over and over. You let her treat me like garbage. You watched it happen. And you did nothing. His jaw clenched, but he didn't deny it. The next few days were a war in silence. Jean stopped leaving her room. Erin barely came home. When he did, he slept on the couch. He texted late at night, but didn't speak during the day. I didn't care. I was already planning next steps. The legal transfer was set to finalize in 30 days. After that, she'd be a tenant if I allowed it. But I had no intention of letting that happen. I'd already contacted a management company to prepare the house for sale. Market prices in Richmond were up, and I'd get a solid profit. Then came the call from Erin's sister, Monica. "What the hell are you doing?" she shouted. "You're evicting Mom? She's 71. She's also a bully who's lived in a house she doesn't legally own for 10 years, I said flatly. "You're destroying this family." I almost laughed. What family? A few days later, Monica posted a long rant on Facebook, tagged me by name, claimed I was stealing their family home, accused me of elder abuse, and said my father would be ashamed of me. I saved screenshots. That weekend, Jean's church friends started calling. One left a voicemail praying I'd see the light and return the house to its rightful owner. Another sent an email with scripture. I never responded. I forwarded them to my work email and let them sit. Erin finally cracked. He came home drunk and stood at the bedroom door. "I can't believe who you've become," he slurred. "You used to be kind. Now you're just cold." I looked at him, dead inside. "You stood by while your mother erased my father from your living room. And you have the nerve to call me cold." He just shook his head and stumbled into the hallway. 2 days later, he packed a bag and left. No apology. No goodbye. Just gone. I didn't chase him. Instead, I moved into the master bedroom. Jean still hadn't left. She started locking her door, like I'd break in. She refused to speak to me or even come downstairs. I didn't care. Then she made one last move. I got served. She was suing me, claiming elder abuse, financial coercion, and fraud. She even accused me of manipulating Erin into leaving. She had a lawyer, probably one of her church friends doing it pro bono, but she'd made a fatal mistake. I had every document, every tax record, every affidavit. The house had never been in her name. The estate had been legally unclaimed for years. And now it belonged to me. When the court date came, she walked in with a cane and a Bible, playing up the Poor Old Widow Act. I walked in with my lawyer, a stack of records, and a USB drive. The judge didn't even let it go to trial. Motion to dismiss. Approved. That was the last time I saw her in person.
Until move-out day.
Move-out day came sooner than she expected. I gave her the legal 30-day notice, but I also paid for a moving company just to avoid any excuses. She hadn't packed a single thing. When the movers arrived, she locked herself in the bedroom and called the police, claiming she was being illegally evicted. They showed up. 2 officers. I handed them the court documents, the property deed, the eviction notice, all stamped and sealed. One officer read through it slowly, then nodded and turned to her door. "Ma'am, you have to cooperate," she screamed at them. "You don't understand. That woman tricked us. That house was my husband's." "Exactly," I said from the hallway.
Was. He's dead.
"And you never put it in your name." She was still yelling when the locksmith came. By 4 p.m. she was out. Her things were in a storage unit I prepaid for 3 months. She stood on the curb with a half-empty suitcase, yelling into her phone, probably to Monica or one of her church friends. Aaron never showed. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel bad either. I just felt done. I spent the next week cleaning out the house. It was a mess, decades of dust, useless junk, and old memories that weren't mine. In the back of a closet, I found a shoebox labeled "Don't Open." Naturally, I opened it. Inside were old letters. Not from her husband, from another man. They were love letters, dated years before he died.
Passionate.
Detailed. They met at a church retreat. He was married.
So was she.
There were photos too, nothing explicit but intimate enough. Her husband never knew. The last letter was dated just months before he died. She was planning to leave him until he got sick. She stayed only for the insurance money. I didn't know what to do with that. So I made copies. A few weeks later, Monica posted another Facebook rant about me. She called me a thief again. A soulless woman with no blood ties. She mentioned that her mother was mourning the loss of the only home she's ever known. So I uploaded one of the letters. No comment. No explanation. Just a photo of her mother's handwritten note, dated 2003. "I can't wait until you're finally mine. He's getting sicker. It won't be long now." The post went viral. Her church friends stopped calling. Monica deleted her account. Jean disappeared from every social platform. Then came the final twist. Aaron reached out. He emailed me, not even a month later. "I think I made a mistake. Can we talk?" I didn't reply right away. I read it again the next day. Then again a week later. Eventually I said yes. We met at a quiet cafe downtown. He looked tired, thinner, but still had that smugness in his tone. "I've been thinking," he said, stirring his coffee. "We rush things. We let things get out of control. I just think maybe we could fix this." I looked at him across the table. For a second, I almost let myself remember the man I married. But that man didn't stand up for me. That man watched his mother destroy my spirit and did nothing. And now that man had nothing. He leaned in. "So, what do you think?" I reached into my bag and slid a folded paper across the table. "What's this?" "Divorce agreement. Already filed. You just need to sign." Aaron stared at the divorce papers like he couldn't read them. His hands were trembling a little, and for once, he had nothing clever to say. "Why now?" he finally asked, voice low. "Why not just talk it through?" I finished my coffee and stood. "Because I already did all the talking, Aaron. For a year. You just never listened." I left him there. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. Clean and quiet. No alimony. No property to split. He didn't even contest it. I made sure to include a clause. He couldn't come near the house or try to make any future claim to it. He signed everything without a fight, maybe because, deep down, he knew he never really fought for me when it counted. As for the house, I sold it. Market was strong. A young couple with a toddler, and one on the way bought it. Watching them walk through the front door that final day felt like closing a door on a chapter one should have never opened. With the profit, I paid off my law school debt in full. I bought a condo. Nothing flashy, just quiet, clean mine. Every photo on the wall is someone who actually loved me. My dad's picture? It sits right on the mantle, where it belongs. Jean ended up moving in with Monica, at least that's what I heard. A friend from church told me Jean no longer shows her face there. After the letters came out, she lost most of her social circle. Some tried to defend her, but the damage was done. Turns out the woman who preached about morals had been sleeping with a married deacon for 5 years behind her husband's back. Funny how truth works. It doesn't always come fast, but it lands hard. I heard Monica left Facebook completely. Deleted every trace of her public life. She tried to organize some family pushback, but no one wanted to get involved after the letter post went viral. They saw who Jean really was. Sometimes, I still get emails from strangers who read the story and want to share their own. Daughters-in-law, mostly. Some ask me how I did it, how I stayed calm through it all. I didn't. There were nights I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. Nights I sat on the floor with my dad's photo and begged the universe for strength. Nights I looked in the mirror and hated the woman I was becoming, cold, distant, always calculating. But in the end, I learned something. Sometimes, justice isn't about punishment. It's about reclaiming your space, your voice, your peace. And for the first time since my wedding, I could finally breathe again, without walking on eggshells, without waiting for someone else to defend me, without erasing the man who raised me just to make room for people who never respected me. This was never just about a photo on a mantle. It was about who gets to decide what family means. And, in the end, I made that decision for myself.